International declared Israel to be an apartheid regime.
Don't fucking stop me while I'm cooking, you baboon in a suit. The chef is in. Better give you a fucking Chelsea Green, you donkey. Donkey.
Listen to what I'm saying, and you will understand, perhaps, what I'm trying to imply.
Patronizing.
Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the fuck you are, and you're over here chirping all the way from fucking London about you want to fucking free Palestine, but also simultaneously you're talking about both sides are fucking fine. Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything, okay? Who the fuck is this pink-haired twink? Dissolve the apartheid.
So what would you like to
Allow
see happen,
Palestinians.
Hassan?
Do you not understand the English language?
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is HasanAbi broadcast coming to you live from gloomy, cloudy California, Los Angeles. Folks, we're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is a Monday. That's right. It's Monday News Day, folks. Monday, October 13th, 2025. And I can't even hear myself think right now because we got the landscapers around and they are using the heavy industrial equipment right outside of my window. But I am live, I am alive, and we have a lot going on in the world, a lot going on in the world of HasanAbi Piker. And this is precisely the time where I tell you all about what I have done in the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming buttons to help me God. That's exactly what I'ma do, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs. That will be illegal in California as of 1/1/26. Snitch on their asses. Wait, what? They're my fucking landscapers. I don't, why would I snitch on their asses? Anyway, folks, this is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news. As you guys know, I didn't actually stream yesterday. And the reason why I didn't stream yesterday is because I wanted to take some time out because I was fucking really pumping. I haven't had a moment of solace, a moment to myself. I keep getting on the plane, off the plane, live streaming every single day, no matter what. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a day off. I'm going to take a me day. I'm going to rest. I'm going to recover. I'm going to watch a lot of Code Geass. And also I am going to, not only watch a lot of Code Geass, but I'm going to watch a little bit of Mussolini, a son of the century. And that's precisely what I did. Now, that was a lot of fun. Saturday Epic got canceled with Pokey and Lily. Yeah, I don't think that's what happened. I don't exactly know what happened, but I guess that's like what people are using to extend the conversation over this saga. But you skip stream and Brother Saleh left us shaking my head. But you're going to stream more of the Mussolini series? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try to get Joe right on the broadcast, as a matter of fact. But I feel a lot better taking a day off, honestly, because it makes me miss the stream quite a bit. I binged. It's weird to say, but Mussolini is so good. It's not weird to say. It's understandable. It's so spectacular. Another Banger Fear End episode in the books, and it was released earlier today. As always, we shot it on, I think it was on Thursday night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Can you get Paul Thomas Anderson on the stream? Pfft, I wish. Don't be crazy now. I wish. But yeah, what was I saying? Il fascismo. Yeah. Hung out with my mom a little bit, slept a little bit, played some basketball. Who is this fat American? It's me. I'm the fat American. John Oliver covered Barry Weiss taking over CBS. Yeah, I saw that. Interesting stuff. And I mostly did a little bit of reading, and I did a little bit of thinking as well. True, stop getting fat again. Don't worry, I'm actually working on that right now. Speaking of which, working on that, this morning I woke up early, went and lifted some weights as always, and I'm feeling pretty good. I hit like 235, 4.5 for an easy 5. Hit 225 for an easier 8, easier than usual 8. Here's also the daily Kaya penance.
Kaya, what is that? Kaya, you got 2? You got not 1 but 2? That's crazy. Both of the bones? Selfish girl.
What's up, everybody?
Yep. Her greed sickens me. Me too. Calling her a brat is abuse. I was thinking about that, like with all of the dog abuse meta going on, with all of the back and forth on the dog abuse meta going on, like if people saw me like wrestling with her, you know what I mean? They'd be like, oh my God, he beats her silly. Like he beats her sideways. Did you see Dr. Mike PhD situation? No, I have not. You raise a little capitalist. She is a brat. She gets whatever the fuck she wants. But this is pretty funny. To all the haters, this is how your normie friend sees you, by the way. Poor Evan. Dude, I don't get any of this. Stop tagging me. He electrocutes his dog with a shock collar if it moves off the platform. He says, okay. But Hasan gives her 2 bones. She must be shocked. Yeah. She's never done anything wrong in her life. I know. My dad sent me a Stephen Miller tweet about you, not the White House one. What Stephen Miller? The fuck? Spooktober Blast Off. Ooh, I like this one. Guys that don't even know Kaya's name, coming in here saying you abuse her. I know. Can we just move on, please? Because the memes were funny in the first couple of days, but now the only people that still are like actively pushing it are people who are genuinely mentally ill, in the way that like anytime my fucking arm moves around or like I unlock the gate or some shit, like I do have a button on my desk for the gate, right? And I unlock the gate, and obviously, if you have a dog, you know this already. When they hear that the gate is unlocked, they perk up. They're like, oh my God, he shocked her again. You know, it's just, they are weird stalkers that are demonstrating their mental illness. And I think it's just, you know, it is what it is. Bro, they are narrating your dog absolutely schizos. Yeah, it's cop brain. This is going to be a post on its own again. I know. Anytime I bring anything up, anytime I even address this, like people go fucking nutty over it. So I feel like I am giving it too much energy. I know, but like chatters also are like, oh, this happened, that happened, whatever. Yeah. In any case. Where was I? You're creating employment. True. Genuine question. How do you deal with this level of psychosis directed towards you? I don't know. I'm fucking stubborn. Okay. That's it for the personal news side of things. Not really much going on in my life. I know it sounds crazy to say, but you know, it is what it is. We got a lot of news to cover. Day 3 of asking you to please check out Road to Empress is like 5 hearts under one roof, but instead you play as a palace girl and thrive and connive your way to Empress based on Empress Wu Zayton P content. Yeah, I've heard that's fucking awesome. I might actually dive into that in a little bit. What did you hit at the gym? Chesticles. Upper body push-pull day. Your energy level is fantastic. Taking some R&R really refreshed you. Yes, it did. All right. You can't go to China until you you finish that game. Well, I guess I have to do it then. I guess I have to do it to him. How the fuck do I fill the little gap between the pecs? I don't know. I think it's just like about how your muscles look. you might be cooked in that regard. But your boy is still active. Your boy is still working out. Your boy is still going after it, getting after it. You already know what it is. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's all I got. Let's blast off. Let's get into it. Hostage swap in Palestine. JD Vance daggered over Tom HOMAN BRIBE. Trump in the Middle East gets a standing ovation. Israel loves Trump more than us. And Netanyahu won't attend the Egypt summit. So much more news. It's Monday news day. Get in now. I think it's the least shocking turn of events, the fact that Israel likes Donald Trump more than Americans do. That is the most normal, understandable event of all time. You know? It's of course Israel likes Donald Trump more than we do here in the United States of America. And I mean, like, legitimately, there is a bigger bipartisan consensus on loving Donald Trump in Israel than the United States of America. Like, sure, we have a lot of fucking weirdos and Trump cultists that love Donald Trump here in the United States of America, but there is, even before the prisoner swap that's taken place, like, Donald Trump has always had more motion in Israel than Benjamin Netanyahu. He's had more motion in Israel than Joe Biden. He's had more motion in Israel than in America. Always. It's something that he himself has also personally recognized. Very strange stuff. It's only strange, however, if you think about, like, Israeli politics as something different somehow. But yeah, we'll talk about friends of the show. We'll talk about friends of the show, Ofer Kasif. Protesting against the Trump reveal. Ayman Odeh and Ofer Kasif got aggressively kicked out of the Knesset for silently holding up a recognized Palestine paper during Trump's address, which is kind of crazy to think about, because, like, I feel like it's crazy to have people who are, like, actual anti-Zionists. It's crazy to think about having actual anti-Zionists that are in the Israeli Knesset demonstrate more of a fucking spine in Israel than, like, American politicians do. Like, very few American politicians actually have that level of motion. I guess, like, you have more of an outlet to do that if you're in Israel, but, like, why are you sending a tweet so many times? Because it's a blast off meme, chatter. You already know. We're blasting off. Go like it. Go repost it. Let the people know that we're live. Let the people know that we are alive. That's how we do it. Are you still going to China this year? Yes, I am. Their whole country's a cult. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, these are the two memes that we got. This hog talk was made for you. Are we gonna watch another Mussolini Son of the Century?
What's up, Russ? What's up? What's happening? How you guys doing? Wonderful. How are you? I heard that you guys are feds. Feds? Yeah. No. No? You're not? What about you? You a fed, sir? That sounds like it. Sounds like it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude. Oh my god. That is the most fed. This is a federal agent activity. I am sorry. That is crazy. This motherfucker posted up, like, how do you do, fellow kids? How do you do, fellow kids? But, like, even more out of place than Buscemi was in that meme, okay? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. This is... You can tell he's a Fed because nobody will be wearing a Phoenix Suns shirt in public. Yo, shout out to FaZe Adapt, okay? He's brave enough. You are being racist towards Suns fans? You think that's what it is? If you're like a public, if you can declare publicly your support for the Phoenix Suns, like you might be actually thumb coded. I don't think I've ever casually lifted one leg and held it against a tree. I've only seen cool kids do it in shows. No, it's even if we're going to do like body language analysis here, I think what's crazier is how high his leg is. It's not even like look at how high his leg is on that tree. Like this is the least like I'm trying to look comfortable ass pose I've ever seen in my whole dang life. Looks like the 45-year-old hog skateboarder that followed you at the LA protest. Oh, yeah. Remember the one with the fucking earpiece? Yeah, he's just tactically chilling. He is doing ocular ascertain. He is doing ocular pat downs. He is tactically ascertaining whether or not he must engage in a kinetic pat down, in a kinetic incident. Okay, that's all this is. That's all this is, baby. Yeah, he is just doing that. He's doing that thing. Digging in his butt with that heel. That's so fun. Digging in his butt. That's true. Anyway. That's you got to look out for these guys when you go to protests. All right. So obviously we're going to start off. This is going to be a somewhat Gaza heavy day today because it's a major news story. Not that I feel like Americans have moved on from it to a certain degree where, you know, half the people are just like, okay, ceasefire is here. Good. This is what we wanted. It's over, right? Like now we don't have to think about Palestine ever again. And then there's the other people who are like, it's not enough. We should have killed more Palestinians. And they can't openly say it like that. So they just go, why are the ceasefire now people so quiet? Why are the ceasefire now people so quiet? Meanwhile, the fire hasn't ceased. Okay. Yeah. RIP to Saleh. Like there's a very famous Palestinian journalist. There's a very famous Palestinian journalist who was shot and killed in the additional Israel-backed gangs, Israel-armed gangs that immediately tried to take advantage of like the power vacuum that existed for like a brief moment. And Israel, instead of directly engaging the Palestinians, has basically let these like gangs roam around, and they come in from like Israel protected areas. They go into areas where like Hamas is reasserting control and the Palestinians are reasserting control, and basically they engage in these like gun battles, and a lot of people are covering it. They're not fully understanding exactly what's going on, but unfortunately in that process, are they like settlers? No, they're collaborators. So there are, for those of you that don't know, I mean, I'll get into it a little bit later because we're currently just talking about my GOAT, peaceful president, Mr. Peace. I like to call him President P, short for President Peace. Okay. Because he is my GOAT. He is the peace president. He's the peacetime president. He did it. He did the damn thing. Okay. President PP. Yeah. PP for short. President Peace. Anyway, because I know there will be some fucking hogs in here that are like, oh, why don't you give him credit? It's like, yeah, in comparison to Brandon, he actually did enforce the power that he had over Israel. I mean, he could have done this in fucking January, which would have, I think, in my opinion, if he had done this in January, he would have received a Nobel Peace Prize, and he would have deserved a Nobel Peace Prize. The fact that he actually waited for like another 9 months so that Israel could get, kill a bunch of more Palestinians in the Strip is gross and disgusting. But, you know, at the end of the day, if we're going to measure him off of what Brandon did and what Brandon could have done and refused to do versus what he did, he did. He did actually eventually fucking say to Israel, it's over, it's done. As far as we know, because right now, once again, just like I said with the last ceasefire, if this is long lasting and this actually starts up the process of recovery, relief, and also recognition of a statehood, a recognition of sovereignty, true emancipation for the Palestinians, then I'm on board. That's great. Okay. I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think that that is going to happen. And I don't even think that the ceasefire is a legitimate one. I think Israel is going to find ways to violate it. If you recall, for the last couple of days, I've mentioned two things that Israel could potentially use to make it seem as though they don't want to abide by a ceasefire, to claim that it's actually the Palestinians that are not abiding by a ceasefire. And they have literally started using those two things. If you've been in here for the past week or so, when I was covering this stuff, you already probably heard that. Number one, they can't find all of the dead hostages. They're gonna use that as an opportunity to say, the Palestinians are spoiling this ceasefire negotiation. They're not abiding by it. And they've already started saying that. And number two, they'll claim, well, these guys are not actually fully disarming. So we have no other choice but to go in and continue our genocide. Both of those things are like being entertained right now in Israeli news. But overall, this is where we're at. We're taking it one day at a fucking time. So let's take a look. Breaking news. Donald Trump signs historic Gaza peace plan.
President Trump now signing that historic Gaza deal. Let's listen in.
Some were brought in and some were not. And they're working out to find out where those bodies are. It's hard to believe that you even have to say something like that. It's so sad. It's so sad. But what's not sad is that we have finally, after, I guess they say 3,000 years, I've heard from 3,000 years to 500 years, but whatever it is, it's a lot. But this was the granddaddy of them all, and frankly, I thought this was probably going to be the toughest, and maybe in many ways it was, but we had a lot of good talent. Steve Witkoff, Jared, and Marco, and Pete, and General Kane.
3,000 years, more like 3 million. You don't understand. 3 million years. It's been promised. It's been promised to Israel. It's Israel. Israel. I love the Bible. It's in the Bible. You know me. I'm a big Bible fan. I'm a big Israel fan. I am feeling more confident about the longevity of the ceasefire just because of how much Trump has put his personal brand behind it. Given how hard he's going at owning it, it would be very embarrassing for it to break down now. His statement on Hamas made me feel more confident as well. Yes, this was actually another unique moment where Donald Trump says the quiet part out loud in a way that is so unexpected from any American leadership whatsoever. This was a huge moment. Correspondent goes, Hamas is rearming itself as a police force shooting rivals. What's the message to Hamas? And Donald Trump straight up goes, that's going to happen. They're taking control over the strip. They've been open about it. They have to do it. Many, many chaotic moments. This has happened so many times with Trump because he just doesn't abide by the normal diplomatic PR trained answers that are required of him in the way that other politicians would. Because of that reason, okay, he will sometimes just say shit that is true, but you would never fucking hear. You would never fucking hear from an American president or even an American politician. He did this with the Houthis. If you remember, he did this with the Houthis. With the Houthis, he was like, yep, they're brave. They're the bravest fighters you've ever seen. The Houthis, they're so brave. They're brave fighters. We couldn't do it. We had to do a deal with the Houthis. They're good fighters. They really got it down, the fighting. And it was shocking when he fucking said that because you just don't expect that from an American president. Or if you remember from many, many years prior, when Trump was originally running for president in 2016, when he had moments like that a lot more frequently, when he wasn't as like Washingtonian brained, he would say stuff like, I think it was with Bill O'Reilly, where he famously once said like, you know, Putin's got killers. Well, we got killers too. We're not such good guys either. Like, it's stuff like that that every now and then comes out of his mouth where you're just like, I never expected an American politician to say that. It's weird. It feels like he just has like accidental truthful moments, partially because he just says whatever comes to his mind, and because he's never experienced any fucking repercussions for it throughout his goddamn career as a politician, he just will sometimes arrive at a correct position. And in most circumstances, he actually says the quiet part out loud, which is very frustrating for a lot of people. Like when he was saying to Ukraine, like, you don't hold the cards, we hold all the cards, which ironically wasn't even true. It was Russia that held the cards. But it's just like it's a very strange phenomena where you see Donald Trump, every now and then just come out with no sugarcoating whatsoever. Lord, oh shit. Fuck. God damn it. Sprayed coffee. With no sugarcoating whatsoever, every now and then we'll engage in these kinds of moments, right? We'll engage in this kind of commentary. We'll say the quiet part out loud. In a lot of instances, the quiet part out loud, unironically, is betraying the supposed, like, America does violent stuff, but it's actually done at the behest of a greater good. America has to be the world police shit, right? It's oftentimes stuff like, it's oftentimes him straight up telling people, hey, what are you going to do about it? Of course, we're going to keep selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, even though they like chopped up an American journalist, because do you have $3 billion to purchase weapons with? And if they don't buy it from us, they'll buy it from somebody else. Like, that's what I mean. When I say, like, Trump has moments of clarity like that, it can go in either direction. Like, when he fucking openly will be like, yeah, if I was a Venezuelan, he was not a citizen. Yes, he was. He was an American legal permanent resident. What the fuck are you talking about? Jamal Khashoggi was straight up. Jamal Khashoggi was killed by Saudi Arabia, and he was an American legal permanent resident. Shireen Abu Akleh, which was sniped by Israel, was a Palestinian, but also an American legal permanent resident. There have been plenty of instances where people with like dual citizenship or have some kind of like American legal permanent residency that have been killed by people that we consider to be our allies. And America predictably doesn't do anything about it because all they give a shit about is selling weapons. But yeah, that's what it is. That is what it is, as always. Yeah, the gray bars are back. Bro, listen to the second speech that Trump gave. It is hilarious. Yeah, gray bars are back right on time. Oh, fuck. Part of me feels like Bibi won't be able to resist pulling out his dick and slapping Trump. I don't know. I think a lot of people are basically looking at what Trump is not just what Trump is saying, but like I've been talking to a lot of Palestinians. I've been talking to Palestinians that are still in Gaza. I've been talking to Palestinians that have escaped Gaza. Palestinians who are pro-Hamas, Palestinians who are anti-Hamas. You know what I mean? Like to get a better understanding of the situation in the eyes of the Palestinian public in general. And virtually everyone seems to think that this ceasefire will hold. Like every single person. So I think there is something different here. And maybe it's because of all of the pressure around the world and like Israel's pariah state. It's made the American government, or at least Trump, recalculate his allowance for Israel to do violence. Okay? That's what it feels like to me.
Of Hamas rearming, instituting themselves as a Palestinian police force, shooting rivals. What is your message? Hamas?
We are standing because they do want to stop the problems, and they've been open about it, and we gave them approval for a period of time. You have to understand, they've lost probably 60,000 people. That's a lot of retribution. They've lost 60,000 people, and the ones that are living right now were, in many cases, very young when this all started. And we are having them watch that there's not going to be big crime or some of the problems that you have when you have areas like this that have been literally demolished. You know, you have 2 million people, and probably it'll be less than that, but you have close to 2 million people going back to buildings that have been demolished. And a lot of bad things can happen. So we want it to be safe. I think it's going to be fine.
Mr. President, you have...
Who knows for sure, Katie? But I think it's going to be fine.
Mr. President.
I mean, that right there is straight up one of those, that right there is like one of those unique moments where he's just like, yeah, we're letting him do it. Which, by the way, can change at any moment, right? Because like someone on the Israeli side will be like, no, we have to fucking use that back and forth conflict as an opportunity to go back in to the Gaza Strip with the Israeli military, and Trump will turn around and say it, right? Because so he's saying that the U.S. is approving of Hamas acting as an interim police force, which is probably true, but they would never say that. No, of course it's true. Obviously, like, we're talking about millions of people that live here. They have to have some kind of governance. Otherwise, it's chaos. Of course it's true. Of course it's going to be who already controlled the Strip prior to October 7. They are the only ones with the organizational capacity at this moment. And Israel, knowing full well that there is like sectarian conflict even within the Gaza Strip, with a bunch of criminal elements within the Gaza Strip, have utilized a different clans within the Gaza Strip to actively steal aid and actively fucking shoot at people and create chaos at the point of aid delivery, things of that nature. Like they've been utilizing different factions within the Strip over and over again. So obviously, in order to reassert control in the interim period while the ceasefire continues, the people that are in charge before they actually dissolve are going to do that. Right? And Trump understands that because it makes sense. It has to happen. And what is crazy about it is not that, that's what's going on. What's crazy about it is that Trump recognizes it and says it out loud. Having said that, remember, tomorrow he could say something different. If someone on the Israel side says, Mr. President, why the fuck did you say Hamas is just like reasserting authority and control over the Gaza Strip, where we're going to use that as an example of chaos to go back in to find like a just cause to go and fucking dominate the Strip. He will turn around and say it. He will turn around and say whatever the Israeli envoys are telling him to communicate.
So great. John Ratcliffe was incredible. We had an amazing array of talent, and we were helped by, in particular, the countries represented at this table. I will say, Tamim, you were fantastic, and your country is unbelievable, and I don't think they give you a fair shake. They talk about you as the...
This is good news, but as Trump, it will flop. Also saying he would have deserved a Nobel Peace Prize is insane. He's a convicted rapist. Don't let this man whitewash his horrid legacy. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. First of all, I don't believe the Nobel Peace Prize is like a valid instrument of justice or peace. Okay? That much is probably clear to you. I've covered it before. I covered it in this past Nobel Peace Prize. Like the recipient was someone who was literally pro-Israel and wants Israel to intervene in Venezuela. Like, that's fucking ridiculous, right? It means nothing. Having said that, if that was a primary motivator, I've always said it would be valid. The second thing I also mentioned that you're failing to consider here is that if he had actually come into office and as his first act in office, he literally fucking implemented the ceasefire that's happening right now, but all the way back in January, then it would have been valid. It would have been valid. And the reason why it would have been valid is because he would have, without having his hands bloody on this iteration of the genocide, even though what he had done prior with the Abraham Accords is basically what led to October 7 to begin with, right? But he would have, because the environment would have shifted so much under Biden, that he would have been able to present himself as someone who is actually charting a different course for the trajectory of the Palestinians. He would have been seen as someone who actually went in there and truly stopped the death and destruction. And yet he didn't do that, and he allowed Israel to continue doing death and destruction for another 8-9 months, which is completely unacceptable. And for the record, what a spectacular defeat for the Democrats here, because the reality of the matter is both the Democratic Party and the Republicans had this maximum power over Israel. Okay? We don't know if this ceasefire will hold. I really hope it does. Having said that, if it does hold, the Republicans will look like the peaceful party once again. And the Democrats will look like the party that had every opportunity to put an end to this slaughter and refused to do so. It's incredible. What a spectacular political defeat this has been, even outside of the immoral nature of advancing a genocide. Think about that. Finally, they are home. Crimea River. There is no hostage swap. The released Palestinians are murderers and rapists. There is no genocide. Fuck Gaza. Fuck Hamas. Long live Israel. Long live America. Death to all Hamas Nazis. Streuselkuchen 8. Zion Nazis feeling a little bit more comfortable with their statements today of all days. You said, so what? So what, yeah. So what? Thank you for your low-tier bait, dumbass. Hassan Nazi, shut up. Between you and I, it's awfully funny for you to call me a Nazi. You know? Yeah, if you're defending Israel, I think we both know who's the Nazi here. This is what's different about the landscape, even in the Western world now. In the past, you could have just been like, you could have actually been, you could have actually gotten away with like claiming someone who's anti-Israel is a Nazi, right? And there are definitely Nazis who are anti-Israel. I'll go so far as to say there are Nazis who are pro-Israel in larger numbers than Nazis who are anti-Israel, but that's besides the point. Now, what's interesting to me in this day and age is that this doesn't work anymore. This doesn't work after 2 years of genocide. It was never truthful. It was never a truthful retort regardless. But now, a lot of other people, a lot of normies are aware that this is not truthful. And that's the difference. But yeah, it's an absolute embarrassment for the Democrats that Donald Trump has shown more interest in ending the killing in Gaza than Joe Biden did. I know that a lot of Democrats are going to get mad for myself saying this, for other leftists saying this. But this is not only the reality, even though Donald Trump's hands are also bloody here. Make no mistake. Okay, he is also a butcher. He is also responsible for the wholesale slaughter of Gaza. While that is still true, between him and Biden, he looks better on this issue. And that is what's so fucking crazy about this. This is what I have been saying over and over again. Like, the Democrats do not understand. They are losing people to one of the most incompetent, one of the most transparent, belligerent fascists of all time. And everyone is going to give him his flowers over and over again now. And the Democrats are just going to sit around and look petty. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about any of this. It's just so wild to me. But hey, that's Pee-Pee, man. That's the peace president, Mr. Pee-Pee. Straight up. As long as this ceasefire holds, that's the motherfucker who basically forced Israel's hand to stop the genocide after allowing Israel to continue doing its genocide. Make no mistake, he's still a piece of shit. It's crazy. You should clarify that losing people in this instant isn't leftists becoming Trump or Republican voters. Yeah, no, there is a large swath of normies out there that are just not fucking tuned into anything, okay? Many of those normies have decided Israel's doing something bad, but they don't really give a shit about it too much, but they just don't think that it's okay that we're giving so much money to Israel, right? They will hear that Donald Trump ended the fucking genocide. They will hear that Donald Trump ended the war, right? And they'll go, okay, well, time to give him credit, I guess. That's what they will remember. Because people don't actually know exactly what's going on in the background. You have to remember, if you're in here right now, with the exception of those who are coming in here to be like, oh, you're killing your dog or whatever the fuck. For most people that tune in every day, you are very aware of all of the minutia, all of the details, all of the wheeling and dealing that takes place. Okay? The average person, even the average well-read person, if they're only getting their news from like the New York Times or Guardian or the BBC or CNN, MSNBC, they're not getting all of this background detail. They're not getting all of this information. For them, they just see Donald Trump doing the damn thing. Okay? That's what they see.
You're not a nice person and you happen to be a nice person. You happen to live in a little tough neighborhood. You're surrounded by everybody. And without you, this wouldn't have happened. And I just want to thank you very much. That's Qatar. And he's an amazing leader. And another man who's been a friend of mine for a long time. I don't know what it is. I like the tough people better than I like the soft, easy ones. I don't know what the hell that is. It's a personality problem, I suspect. But this gentleman from a place called Turkey has one of the most powerful armies actually in the world. It's much more powerful than he even lets known. If you look.
Oh my God, glaze. So Jeremy and I were talking about Turkey's involvement and what that means, if you remember. And I feel like I didn't actually understand what his question was. And I think there is more to the Turkish involvement and why that's significant that I briefly alluded to in that conversation, but I didn't actually mention or elaborate further on. Turkey is, alongside Qatar, one of the only countries in that region that actively and openly does not say Hamas is a terrorist organization. Okay? They not only host Hamas Politburo members, but they also have a very different position. Despite being under the American security apparatus, the American security umbrella, they will openly state that Hamas is not a terrorist organization, it's a resistance organization. Turkey obviously doesn't feel that way about Hezbollah. There is some other reasons for it. They don't like Iran or anything like that. But when it comes to Hamas, the official position that they have moved forward with is that in spite of their status as a NATO country, they have openly always maintained the position that Hamas is a resistance group, which is the truth, by the way, right? And the reason why the Turkish involvement here was significant is because I think their involvement signaled to Hamas that their involvement in the roundtable negotiations signaled to Hamas that they would be treated more fairly, that they wouldn't be fucked over. Now, I don't trust Erdogan as far as I can throw him. Okay, I don't think he's a trustworthy person, but I clearly the Hamas side, like the Palestinian resistance side in general, made that calculation a little bit differently than myself. Here's some more information on this. Turkey, Qatar, and other regional states would not let Hamas be destroyed despite being verboten in U.S. and U.S.-led countries. Hamas is treated with normal diplomatic protocol in Moscow and Beijing because the group plays an important role in this stage of the larger conflict. Yeah, Gershom Baskin notes how Turkey's spy chief Ibrahim Kalın helped Hamas get over the finish line. In conclusion of these first thoughts, President Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Steve Witkoff is a deal maker, and without Witkoff, none of this would have happened. Witkoff speaks for the president. Everyone knows it. Jared Kushner's role at this point was crucial because in the near future, Ron Dermer will be working for Kushner and not for Netanyahu. Bringing Kushner for the final round of negotiations was a brilliant move to neutralize Dermer's defined role of foiling every chance of ending the war. The Turkish head of intelligence is very close to Witkoff and to Hamas, and the Turkish intensive role was crucial in putting the pressure on Hamas to agree to the deal and not to walk away from the table. Is Hamas really a terrorist group like the West says? How do you feel about Hamas? Terrorism is a vague definition that the American government and Western nations use against all movements. In certain instances, it's valid. It's understandable to consider some group a terrorist group like ISIS or ISIS affiliate like Salafist movements and Al Qaeda and things like that, especially ones that want to like inspire global jihad, as they like to call it. But yes, in the instance of Hamas, or even in the case of Hezbollah, as a matter of fact, the terrorism designation is actually not an apt one. It's just a political one. It's no different than the terrorism designation that Nelson Mandela had, or the IRA had. It's a national emancipatory movement. A national emancipatory movement, especially with Hamas, in the case of Hamas, that does not operate outside of the confines of historic Palestine. That's what's interesting about Hamas's goals and Hamas as a movement. It's just a part of a larger resistance group that is tasked with ending the occupation. Hamas, a resistance group, they have committed acts that you could describe as terror attacks in the past, but I would hesitate to call it a terrorist group. Its primary purpose is not terror. All militant groups are capable of engaging in terroristic acts. Exactly. If we're going to be super certain with the definitions, the concept that I abide by in terms of terrorism as a non-state actor, like terrorism designation or acts of terror for non-state actors, is oftentimes utilized when like non-state actors decide to target civilians. And yes, it is true that members of the Palestinian resistance have throughout time evolved and throughout time have decided to change their targets away from police and military to civilians as well. These are acts that you could consider to be acts of terror. Okay, while it is still for a higher emancipatory goal, these are definitionally what people think about when they think about acts of terror. 9/11, that's an act of terror, right? You have planes that are flying into a civilian area with the express purpose of causing chaos with a group that has a larger political goal, but what they're trying to do is basically just like put an environment of fear. Right? Boston Marathon is another great example of an act of terror, right? The Boston Marathon bombing. So ultimately, it makes sense if your entirety of your output or if your goals are not inherently emancipatory, but rather colonial. Even if you're a non-state actor, you can still engage in have like a broader colonial goal. Like ISIS had a broader, not colonial, but how do I describe it? A broader goal of creating an Islamic caliphate in this region, right? In the Levant. And that was an area that does not belong to them. They're expansionists. They're killing all these civilians. They're fucking brutalizing them. It is totally, it's an appropriate usage of the term terror group and an appropriate usage of the term like terrorism in general, right? States, ironically enough, oftentimes engage in these sorts of actions with regular frequency, a lot more frequently than non-state actors like Hamas do, for the record. Like, I mean, look at what Israel has done. Genocide is when the state decides to do the maximalist version of terror, right? Which is why I always say that ISIS or Nazi Germany is a closer equivalent to what Israel's ideological goals are and what Israel's actions look like against a captive population that it is the belligerent occupier of. Whereas ISIS is not a good comparison or an analog for Hamas at all, because Hamas's goals are not expansionist. Hamas's goals are emancipatory. In the act of said emancipatory purpose, have they engaged in acts of what you would consider terrorism? Absolutely. Bus bombings are a perfect example of this, right? Like any sort of like direct civilian targeting in any sort of militant action could be considered a war crime or an act of terror. Having said that, ultimately, they only operate within the confines of historic Palestine. And they've always been very careful to say that they only operate within the confines of historic Palestine. Anyway. In one of my classes, we read a paper that said ISIS was like a death cult. Would you say that's accurate? Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's inaccurate. I mean, yeah, they're nutty. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's not. There's a reason why regional actors don't have the same fucking attitude about Hamas as they do about ISIS, even though the same regional actors that are sitting right there have in the past, at the direction of these guys, have actually funded and facilitated, logistics for ISIS, but that's for a different time, either directly or indirectly.
Look at some of the recent conflicts. He was at the top of them, and he was winning them, and he did win them. And he doesn't want any credits. He doesn't want anything. He just wants to be left alone. He's a tough cookie, but he's been my friend. And every time I've ever needed him, he's been there for me. So I just want to thank President Erdogan, Turkey. Because he is difficult. They call me. They said, would you do me a favor? Could you speak to Erdogan? And I do. And he never fails us. Right, General? He never fails. He's amazing. So I just want to thank you for the friendship. It's good. Thank you very much. And then, of course, we have the host tonight. And I just want to thank you very much. It was a reason we chose Egypt, because you were very helpful. And very, very helpful. Everybody wanted to have this, but we really thought it was appropriate. And you are a great leader. You have very little crime. You have problems that other countries don't have. And of course, nothing's perfect, but the job you do is amazing, and I want to thank you. Another one, we've been my friend right from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God, I can't believe that this motherfucker's talking about crooked Hillary Clinton in Sharm el-Sheikh, bro. Oh God. I love how the FIFA president was invited to this, by the way. Yeah, you got Macron in the background too. All the best boys, all the besties are here, okay? Incredible.
We were both downstairs waiting to go up to meet this gentleman who has a place called Egypt, the oldest civilization. They say 6,000 years. China's 5,000 years, but you're actually number one, 6,000 years. Can you believe it? But the oldest, they say, civilization. But so I want.
That's your president, my guy. I can't believe it. Every day that passes by, and I see how people behave on the internet, I understand why he's the president. I think I think this is the best it's gonna get. I think he is reflective of how Americans are. He's just, this is how this is just how this is us.
To meet him first, and we liked each other so much that she waited for about an hour and a half, and I think your meeting lasted about 2 minutes with her, so I always remembered that. But that was our first meeting. We had great chemistry together, and he's a fantastic man and a fantastic general, by the way, but he's a great president. And
I'm so sorry for your loss. What happened? I mean, it's not a loss just for all of us. It's a loss for the entire world, I think. Like, it's just, there is no world where like America is just hermetically sealed from the rest of the planet. We all lose. When this guy is in charge of basically every fucking Western nation, we all lose. And I don't know. The more I think about this stuff and the more I see the historic parallels of growing fascism and the death of liberal democracy at the time, and the way that like the period pre-World War I, between World War I and World War II, that time frame had similar shocks. Western liberal capitalist nations were basically trying to define what liberal democracies would look like. There was still some institutional grip that the monarchy had over many of these countries. Nation states were being designed. And I think at that time frame, a lot of people were like, yeah, liberal democracy sucks dick, bro. I don't want this shit. I want something different. And we all know what that different thing was. That different thing was fascism. It came up and blew the fuck up because it was so easy to get on board with. It was all vengeance, especially because of all of the economic harm that people had experienced, all of the direct violence that they had engaged with, or the violence that they had experienced. And they were like, yeah, we need to whip everybody up. We need to whip people into some kind of order. And the liberal capitalists thought, you know, who could do this really good? Who could do this really well? The fascists can. And I think a similar version of that is already happening, but this time, instead of like liberal, instead it's the liberal Democrats themselves, like the liberals themselves. And I use like liberalism in the sense of like Trump is a liberal as well. They are the ones who are forming. It's not like a new fascist movement. It's more so that these guys are basically melding their movement into fascism.
Thank Egypt and all of your representatives for treating us all so well. We're really representative of a whole group of nations, and they're sitting behind us, and you know most of them. I can tell you this guy's got so much money. They all have so much money. There's more money and power sitting behind us. I love that they're behind us. We've never been sitting behind anybody before. This is a very unique position for them, but they are.
Netanyahu canceled his trip to Egypt. Oh, yeah. So Netanyahu's, here it is. This is senior Middle East correspondent for I-24 News. Ariel Osaran says Netanyahu's decision to cancel his trip to Sharm el-Sheikh came following opposition by numerous countries that presumed Egypt to prevent Netanyahu from attending the Gaza Peace Summit, an Arab source tells I-24. So he wasn't initially invited. Donald Trump actually wanted him to come. And all of the other countries that are involved, especially the ones that are in the region, did not want Netanyahu there because I think they just didn't want to. They didn't want to be seen side by side with Netanyahu. They didn't want to be seen like shaking his hand or anything like that. And then he basically was disinvited quickly. The source stated that countries such as Turkey, Spain, Iraq, South Africa, and others claimed that since they do not allow Netanyahu to fly over their territory due to the ICC arrest warrant against him, therefore he should not be invited to the summit and seen in their midst. Sources close to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas relayed messages to Cairo that this is not the time for a handshake with Netanyahu, the source said. Additionally, a group of journalists organized in Egypt sought to join forces with the Hind Rajab Foundation to examine the possibility of contacting a local Egyptian court to issue an arrest warrant against Netanyahu. According to the Arab source, following internal consultations mainly with the security establishment, it was decided to avoid the embarrassment and Netanyahu canceled his trip to Egypt. This person says a peace summit without one of the belligerents present sounds real promising. No, the belligerent is present. Trump is there. The main belligerent is present. Everybody knows that, for the record. So Remember that. Everybody understands. They do the handshakes and they do the symbolism, but everyone understands. They're not stupid. Or even a stupid man knows who is responsible for this death and destruction. The main belligerent here is the United States of America. All of those regional actors know that reality. And therefore, they were like, we have one of the belligerents here. Okay? Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's trip to Sharm el-Sheikh summit was conceived during his ride with President Trump from Ben Gurion Airport to the Knesset in Jerusalem, according to a source familiar with the details. When I spoke with President Trump while he was on Air Force One en route to Israel, he didn't know that Netanyahu hadn't been invited to the summit and said that the Egyptians were the ones responsible for the invitations. During the ride to the Knesset in the Beast, Trump told Netanyahu that he should attend. The source noted that Netanyahu agreed. A senior U.S. official said that afterwards, President Trump began mediating between Egyptian President al-Sisi and Netanyahu. The two haven't spoken since the start of the war in Gaza. Trump called the Egyptian president and asked him to invite Netanyahu to the summit. Shortly after, Sisi called Netanyahu and invited him. Netanyahu accepted the invitation. Then they disinvited him. And the reason why is because what the fuck do you think is supposed to happen? Obviously, it's a little crazy for Qatar to just like sit there and shake Benjamin Netanyahu's hand, right? Also, this shows you exactly where Sisi is. Donald Trump says jump. He says how high. Donald Trump says bark. Sisi gets on his hands and knees and barks. Remember. Okay? British bastard, Trump makes peace in the Mideast and you're still mad? Wait, what? I am saying he is the peace president. He's PP. Okay, that's my goat. He's Mr. PP. What happened? Is this how little you care about everything that's going on? That the only thing you're in here is like an quote unquote own or something? You're like, Trump did the peace, dude. He did the peace. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Iran are also not present. Neither is Hamas. This does make me a bit concerned. The Beast is the U.S. president's armored limo. Yes, I know. Sisi awarded Trump. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has awarded the Nile Collar, Egypt's highest state honor, to President Trump for his contribution to promoting peace and most recently his pivotal role in ending the war in Gaza, el-Sisi's office said. We shall see. I'm Egyptian and I'm embarrassed because of my president. I mean, yeah, well, I'm American. I'm American and Turkish, so I know what that's like. I think there are very few countries on the planet that could be like, nah, I think my president is doing a decent job. You know? Think about it this way. Sisi is more a puppet, so at least you know that your countrymen didn't fucking vote for him. In the same way that we here in the United States of America have to also deal with the idea that there is a decent chunk of the population that fucking loves this guy. I don't know how many people in Egypt love Sisi, but I can tell you it's like 30 to 40% that love Donald Trump, and I think that's objectively a worse situation.
Seriously, they're among the most powerful countries in the world, the richest countries in the world, and there's never been really an assemblage like what we have today. I don't think I've never seen it anyway. And I want to thank everybody for being with us. Man, I just solved the war for him. Azerbaijan. Did that do a good job? Where did you come picture here? Where is area? You guys are still getting along, right? We fought for 32 years, and in about 1 hour we settled it, right? And they like each other now, too. That's great. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. Italy, she's a very strong ruler. She's doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. So, but we're actually going to be making a speech after this, so this is just a very important signing, but we're doing a signing, then we're doing a speech, and then I may stay behind with the leaders just to talk about that, some things without the press. I want to thank the media for you've been so respectful on this deal. You know the importance of the deal, and I really...
Dude, everything is small fry for this guy. Oh my God, everything. He's just happy that the media... He is just happy that the media is like saying this is good. That like a ceasefire is a good thing. He's like, finally, they're being so nice to me. It's so... Oh...
It was so pleasant to watch. I was on the plane for quite a while listening to the various newscasts, and they were all fair. They were talking about how incredible this is. This is an incredible day for the world, let alone the Middle East. So I just wanted to thank the media. They really treated it with respect. I wish you could be like that on other things, but that's perhaps too much to ask for. But on this, tremendous, everybody feels the same. Just tremendous respect, and we appreciate it very much. Can we get the documents, please? Okay.
You will sign right here.
Okay. Okay.
See document. Here's
This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up. Okay, thank you. You can use my pen if you want. Have a pen? Want to use mine? Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's pretty funny that Trump is signing anything. Like, officially, the U.S. isn't a party of the conflict. So what the hell is he signing? Come on, man. It's time to get real. You know what I mean? First of all, technically, none of the people here are official parties to the conflict. But it doesn't matter. Everybody knows the truth. Everybody knows the truth. And it's not what Trump is saying with his mouth when he says, like, oh, this has been going on for 3,000 years. We've put an end to it. But everybody understands that, of course, it's America that is, like, primarily involved in this. Why else do all of these other fucking countries also sit idly by as this seemingly sovereign foreign state that is a settler colonial enterprise smack dab in the middle of this fucking resource-rich region is capable of being belligerent and attacking 7 fucking countries at the same time, including some of those fucking people that are there, like the Qatar. Like, remember, Israel directly bombed Qatar, okay? A month ago. Everybody understands why you just have to shut the fuck up. Everybody understands why you just have to sit there and be like, yes, Mr. President, you're doing a great job, Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. President. We love you, Mr. President. It is what it is. Yeah, it's all hail Daddy Trump. All right. This is just fucking signing
Signature
shit. All right.
page, yeah. So we're going to go and I'm going to say a few words. We'll give you a little speech, and then we're going to meet with the leaders after that and spend a little time together without the media. The media is invited to the speech. I just want to tell you the people behind me and some of the people in the room that are so helpful, but the people behind me are the greatest leaders, most powerful leaders, the richest leaders, frankly. Sometimes it's not politically correct to say that, but I'll say it, the richest in the world that the world has ever seen. And yet when you get to know them, I know every one of them in their own way, and I can say in particular some, because that's the way life works, but some of the greatest people you'll ever meet, and people that really care for their country.
Definitely. Definitely. When I think about virtually all of these guys, that's what I think of. I think of some of the best people there is, okay? There is not a single person there that I would say is like objectively a good person. That's so funny. That's the King of Jordan, for those of you who don't know. Sitting at 5'2" is a British colonial apparatus. Even Marx Carney, yes, especially the liberals, because the liberals that are sitting at this table also present this false reality, this notion that they actually care about law and order, that they actually care about like the international rule-based order that was designed, when they obviously don't. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. There are some that are fine. There are some that are better than others there, right? But like, ultimately, it's just like a league of villains.
And why this happened is they all came together and they wanted to get Gaza straightened out. They wanted to get the whole thing straightened out. It got to a point where it was just crazy. And once they got together and once we started talking, it went really, Tamim, it went smoothly. It went so smoothly. You were such a big help, but it went so smoothly that nobody can even believe it, that we're sitting here and getting this all certified out and all done. And everybody's happy about it. Everybody's happy about it, like I've never seen before, actually. I've done other deals and people don't care as much. Big deals. I think they're big deals, but this is something that's taken off like a rocket ship. And it did from the beginning. And I've heard for years, this is the biggest deal. It'll never happen. For years, long before I ran for office, that this is the Middle East. It's
I cannot stress this enough. The Democrats literally wrapped this up as a gift. Not only did they lose the election in part because of their lack of interest in doing this, but the very fact that they didn't do this and then Trump came into office and then did this, especially if it holds, okay, especially if it holds, is just a spectacular fumble. A spectacular fumble. And I don't want to hear it from any of the fucking liberals in the chat that would normally come in here and say shit like, oh, you know, you're just like shitting on the liberals. They have no power in this situation. They had all of the power when they were in charge. Okay. And they didn't, I can't even say they squandered the power, because it doesn't seem like they squandered the power at all. It seems like they wanted this to continue happening. And now the entire fucking world thinks that Donald Trump was capable of bringing about peace in the aftermath of 2 years of genocide. Speaking of breaking from the liberal, socialist, PSL, and PFP candidate Ramsey Robinson announces bid for governor. Okay, man. We're talking about, you know, international
The
events
biggest,
right
most complicated deal. And also it's the place that could lead to tremendous problems like World War III. They always talked about World War III would start in the Middle East. And that's not going to happen. We don't want it to start anywhere, actually, but it's not going to happen. So I just want to thank everybody, and I'll see you in a little while. And in particular, thank you all. Thank you, Tamim. Mr. General, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job.
Am I doomer pilled for feeling like there's literally 0% chance this holds? I think the real, the truth nuke doomer pill is that this does hold, and the West Bank encroachment continues, and we go back to business as usual, where there's even more Western colonial control over the Gaza Strip, and no resistance whatsoever from the Palestinian front as they slowly but surely go back to a life of being victim to slow burn ethnic cleansing, which heats up every now and then. When Israel does like sieges or whatever, as they did over and over again. And they continue to make the Strip uninhabitable for any Palestinian human being. And we just kick the can back down the road, and the rest of the world turns a blind eye to it. Because the position that many of you have arrived at after 2 years of genocide, like the realities that you started recognizing after 2 years of genocide, were realities that already existed, right? Many people saw what Israel was doing and wanted to read further. And then they realized, oh my God, everything I've been taught about this situation was wrong, right? But you have to remember, 75 years prior to October 7, the conditions were still horrible for Palestinians. You know? So they were able to get away with it. Israel was able to get away with it because the world did not know. The world did not know what was going on. There was a sophisticated messaging apparatus that they took advantage of. It was a uniparty issue. It was seen as a uniparty issue. I think that's the real scary outcome of this, is that people go, come on, man. That's it. The ceasefire happened. What more do you want? It's like, you don't just move on from a genocide. Like, there needs to be a process. There needs to be a truth and reconciliation. There needs to be a process of restitution. The apartheid must end. The occupation must end. Palestinians must get sovereignty. And it's very obvious to me that just like with the symbolic state recognition, conditional state recognition from Western nations, this is America basically doing the same shit that they did, or the same exact thing that like France did, you know, but in their own way, which is, all right, we packed it up. No more genocide. Now shut the fuck up.
Well, thank you very much. And that was...
Why do you think Israel's willing to do a ceasefire after 2 years? There is no Israel's willing to do anything. There could be two reasons. If the ceasefire is fake and they're just simply biding their time, they're just going to go back to business as usual. But it seems like this will hold. And the reason why it will seemingly hold is because America has finally told Israel it's done. Okay? That's it.
It's a great honor. I appreciate it very much, Mr. President. Mr. General, Mr. President, great General, great President, thank you very much. This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working.
What the fuck? Why did it cut?
Have been returned. Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. First few rows and standing behind me, I don't know why they chose to stand, but I promise I'll make it short, okay?
Anyway, here, this is Barack Ravid, but Barack Ravid with the scoops once again. IDF's very own Barack Ravid. Direct meeting between Trump envoys and Hamas leaders sealed the Gaza deal. An unusual and dramatic meeting. An unusual and dramatic meeting last night between President Trump's envoys and Hamas leaders helped get the Gaza peace deal across the line. 3 sources with direct knowledge tell Axios why it matters. One barrier to a deal was that Hamas leaders feared Israel would resume the war once its hostages were freed. In order to deliver a deal, one of the sources contended, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner had to meet the Hamas leaders in person and directly assure them that Trump won't let that happen as long as the group held up its side of the deal. A day earlier, Trump had privately granted permission for Witkoff and Kushner to meet Hamas leaders if necessary to seal a deal when they met in the Oval Office before the pair departed for Egypt. After arriving in Sharm el-Sheikh, Witkoff informed the Qatari and Egyptian and Turkish mediators about Trump's green light. On Wednesday night, around 11 p.m. local time, the Qatari mediators came to Witkoff's villa at the Four Seasons, said there was a stalemate in the talks, and asked if the U.S. envoys were ready to meet Hamas, according to one of the sources. We think that if you meet them and shake their hand, there will be a deal, a senior Qatari official told Witkoff. Behind the scenes, several minutes later, Witkoff and Kushner walked into another villa at the Red Sea Resort. Arrayed inside were the Egyptian and Turkish intelligence chiefs, senior Qatari officials, and 4 most senior Hamas leaders involved in the negotiations. The Hamas team was led by Khalil al-Hayya, who had survived an Israeli assassination attempt in Doha 3 weeks earlier. In a meeting lasting around 45 minutes, Witkoff told the Hamas officials the hostages were now more of a liability than an asset for you. It was time to move on with the first phase of the deal and bring people home on both sides of the border, he said, according to one of the sources. Al-Hayya asked if Witkoff and Kushner had a message from Trump. President Trump's message is that you will be treated fairly and that he stands behind all 20 points of his peace plan and will make sure that they're all implemented, Witkoff said, according to the source. When the meeting ended, the Hamas leaders went to a separate room with the Egyptian, Qatari, and Turkish mediators. Several minutes later, Egyptian spy chief Hassan Rashad returned with his Turkish and Qatari counterparts. Based on the meeting we have a deal, he told Witkoff and Kushner. Flashback, the meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh was the second significant direct engagement between the Trump admin and Hamas. In March, U.S. hostage envoy Adam Baylor held an unprecedented meeting with Hamas leaders in Doha in an effort to free American hostage Idan Alexander and retrieve the bodies of 4 other Americans kidnapped by the group. The deal faltered in part due to strong opposition from the Israeli government, which was initially in the dark about the direct negotiations. The bottom line, the willingness of Witkoff and Kushner to meet Hamas leaders despite the political risks involved demonstrated to the group that the U.S. was serious about getting and enforcing a deal, one of the sources contended. This is why when President Trump's envoys gave their word that this deal will be fully enforced, they believe it. It seems to me like the barbaric monsters in the way that they were presented were seen as much more reasonable than the way that they're presented in the media, right? I wonder why. The U.S. negotiated directly with Hamas to get this deal. Just more proof of how stupid it is to avoid direct negotiations with the Palestinians is the only way to get things done. Of course. MIT MIT seems to be directly pretty involved in this, as Jeremy Scahill alluded to the interview. Yes. Because Milli İstihbarat Teşkilatı, which is the CIA of Turkey, that's what this chatter is talking about, is directly involved in the talks because they're one of the forces in the region that the Hamas and all of the Palestinian resistance forces actually have to trust more than like the Saudis. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the Gulf leadership, I would say out of all the Gulf states, Qatar is the only one that has like some kind of legitimacy in the eyes of the Palestinian resistance groups. And then out of all the other regional actors, the one that they definitely abide by or definitely think would give them a fair shake, whether it's correct or not, this is just their assessment, is I would say the Turkish intelligence. Trump, I've known so many of you for so long. You're friends of mine. You're great people. I have a couple of people I don't like in particular, but I won't tell you who.
Sprint to this deal began less than 3 weeks ago on the sidelines of the United Nations in New York. I met with many of the people in this room, and it all just started coming together. I've known so many of you for so long. You're friends of mine. You're great people. I have a couple I don't like in particular, but I won't tell you who. I have actually a few of them I don't like at all, but you'll never find out who they are. Well, maybe you will, come to think of it. The final...
I honestly feel like Trump only wanted this deal for Nobel and now seems not to really care to be there. No, I don't think it's just that. I think the other reason is because, look, it's impossible to fully understand why Trump is doing this, okay? But you have to start with his motivations. Donald Trump's primary motivation always is getting his money up and not his funny up, okay? He doesn't care about anything other than himself. That much is obviously clear. He certainly doesn't care about, like, you know, peace for the sake of sparing lives that could have been continued to be dominated by Israeli incursion and the Israeli genocide against the Palestinians. He obviously just cares about deals. He cares about deal making. He cares about being seen as a deal maker. He cares about being seen as a powerful figure. And I think ultimately he cares about making money. Not just for himself, but also for his EU is greater than you. You are just a cringe communist. Oh, EU is greater than NA. I think in some ways, Europe, and with its history and with its political movements, is better than the United States of America. But unfortunately, the European Union and the European countries are basically servile, like a dog, to our disgusting, monstrous piece of shit government. There have been great movements that come out of Europe. Like, you see what people are doing in Spain, you see what people are doing in Italy, and you see the protests everywhere, and it inspires confidence. But you know, just not great. Anyway, look. Let's keep going. What I was going to talk about is, like, if you're thinking about Trump's main motivations here, I think it's fucking deal making. Okay? I think it's ultimately deal making. He wants to make deals and he wants to build shit. Okay? He wants to build shit in the region. He wants to build shit in Gaza, potentially. Like, that's what he wants to do. He wants to make money. And it's wild because, like, I guess that has led to, at least in the interim, a more peaceful outcome for the Palestinians, a moment of respite for the Palestinians, than the other side of the equation, which is, like, unrestrained, ultra-Zionist social conditioning and firm commitment to Israel. Trump recognized that Israel's popularity was waning, even in his own base. He recognized that Israel's popularity was waning all around the world. And he openly stated it. He said, we're going to make Israel popular again. Israel's lost a lot of support around the world. He said that. He said that. Straight up. So look no further than that if you want to understand where he's coming from. Trump points at UAE official during photo op and says, a lot of cash, unlimited cash. Yeah, he also loves this shit. Like, that's why he keeps hyping up how much money they have. He loves it. He just keeps saying, like, these guys, they have so much money. It's so good. I love how much money they have. Why does he keep pulling him like that? He's such a freak, dude. A lot of cash, unlimited cash. I think the attack on Qatar mattered a lot in Trump moving on this. He really values both personally, financially, and politically the relationship between the U.S. and Gulf countries. Almost immediately afterwards, he gave Qatar a security agreement equal to an Article 5, and he made Netanyahu apologize publicly in front of everyone. Yeah. I think Israel might have... I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I think Israel bombing Qatar after Qatar had already bribed Donald Trump directly. Big mistake. Because Miriam Adelson gave Donald Trump $250 million. That goes a long way. Qatar gave him $400 million in the form of a plane. That also goes a long fucking way, which is precisely the reason why when that happened, if you remember, I said, look, it's transparent corruption. Everybody understands this is fucking bribery, okay? But if this actually moderates Trump's tone, if you go back and listen to my commentary at the time, when everybody was talking about the plane, what did I say? I said, if this somehow makes Donald Trump's tone in the region a little bit more moderate, then I don't even give a fuck. Okay? And I'm not saying that because my main oilers, my main funders are the royalty of Qatar, okay? The Piker Broadcasting Service is funded by you, the viewers, and it's for you, the viewers. Okay? And by that, I mean your gifted subscriptions come directly from the royal family of Qatar and the glorious nation of Qatar. Qatari Cat with 100 gifted subs. There it is. There it is. W bribes. W bribes. You keep talking about that, but Van Jones needs to be taking you seriously. Yeah, I know. Anthony Blinken and then Andrea Mitchell. Oh my God, this conversation is going to brick my brain. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. I think some Israeli advocates hope that images of Hamas acting violently towards collaborators or criminals or settling scores would turn Trump off and he would greenlight the restart of the war. That was a bad bet. Interestingly, Trump, though he wallows in a lot of atrocity propaganda, is one of the only powerful Western leaders who treats Hamas not as some barbaric alien being, but an organization with interests and rationales like anybody else. He genuinely seeks to understand why they do what they do, which very few people do. Kind of jarring. To which Megaphonics responded with, Hassan the Hun had a take on stream recently that seems prescient. While previous presidents, most of all Biden, have an ideological foundation for defending Israel, Trump's main motivator, despite his obvious rampant Islamophobia, seems to be personal wins and back scratching. He's obviously stuck his flag firmly on the pro-Israel side for ages, but you don't push for a ceasefire deal such as this and say the things he said recently without some level of transactional detachment from the core of the matter. His interest is only for the deal to hold now. Yeah. Netflix, BBC, and others sent legal letter over Israel film boycott signed by Joaquin Phoenix, Olivia Colman, highly likely to be a litigation risk. Ay, ay, ay. All right, we're going to continue with the speech in a second. But yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's such an insane thing to say, but it's more so a sign of how awful and how deteriorated global politics are that honestly, the person who is simply bribable and financially motivated to push for a ceasefire is seemingly better than the person who is ideologically committed to the project of Israel, the project of greater Israel. Like, even the fact that you have Steve Witkoff, who is there to speak to the Israelis, as opposed to Brett McGurk, is seemingly better. Steve Witkoff also cares about Israel, right? Like, obviously he does. Like, in his private life, in his personal life, he does care about Israel. But he is basically Trump, right? He is there to speak on behalf of Trump. And as a person who is there to speak on behalf of Trump, while they do engage in like wheeling and dealing, and they did this with like Eden Alexander, for example, ultimately, it's obvious that like Steve Witkoff has less ideological zealotry here than fucking Brett McGurk does. Brett McGurk has worked for numerous administrations, and his job has always been to place Israel's priorities higher than even America's priorities, right? It's that simple. Sometimes guys like that are not going to be able to push the conversation to where it needs to go. The thing is, Trump outsourced the ideological Zionism to his advisors who are ultimately obsequious to Trump personally. So when Trump says he wants something done, they find a way to make it work. Biden was personally invested in Zionism and surrounded himself with similar people, so it went nowhere. Yeah. Like Anthony Blinken, Brett McGurk, Amos Hochstein, like these guys are straight up, they've either literally almost, I think, served in the IDF, or they are very committed to the project of Zionism. Joe Biden is very committed to the project of Zionism, right? Like that's a personal investment that these guys have, as opposed to Trump, who doesn't give a shit about anything. So in this instance, like narcissism and glad handling unironically can make him fucking take a different approach to the situation than like an administration that is comprised entirely of people who are committed to Israel. Straight up. And before people say, is it religious? Like, Biden is Catholic. By and large, it's like the least pro-Israel Christian faction out there. What are you talking about? I don't think Brett McGurk is Jewish either, if that's what you're like trying to fucking figure out. Because like, it don't matter. For these guys, for a lot of these guys, I don't think you understand, like, Zionism is not like something that is baked into their DNA because of their fucking religious affiliation. Like, it's not because they're Jewish, is what I mean. Is Brett McGurk even Jewish? I mean, look at Mike Huckabee. He's one of the most rabid fucking freaks out there. I mean, his last name has Mick in it, so I don't think he's Jewish, but yeah, he's Irish, and he's either WASP or WASP and a Protestant or fucking Catholic. Not that it fucking matters. That's what I'm trying to explain. This is not like a Jewish thing at all. It's just, if it was simply just a Jewish thing, then you wouldn't have the most rabid Christian evangelical Zionists in this country.
We are not going to keep you standing for long. These are great leaders. After years of suffering and bloodshed, the war in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now...
Libs were right. You were wrong in saying Kamala would be the same as Trump on Israel-Palestine. Trump is better, law. Oh, come on, man. I mean, let's not lose sight of the reality, okay? Like, let's not lose sight of the reality that he did for 8 additional months allow Israel to murder and starve the Palestinians, okay? Yeah. We're not giving credit to Adolf Hitler for killing Adolf Hitler. Okay?
Pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food.
What the fuck? Wait.
Medical equipment.
Hostages freed. Biden 135, Trump 20. Shut the fuck up. Ain't no way. Ain't no way that's what liberals are doing. Oh my God. Oh my fucking Lord. Oh my Lord, holy goddamn moly. This is crazy.
Equipment and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room. Civilians are returning to their homes. The hostages are reuniting. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just watching it backstage. The level of love and sorrow, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing when you see they haven't seen their mother, their father. They haven't seen them in such a long time, and they lived in a tunnel, a very little tunnel, very deep. And the level of love is just incredible. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's, in one sense, it's so horrible that it could have taken place, but in another sense, it's so beautiful to see a new and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the Arab and Muslim nations who helped make this incredible breakthrough possible. And you really did. To President El-Sisi of Egypt, who is so
Can you debunk this
generously
video?
hosting
Thank you.
us
With
today.
absolute garbage.
I want to thank you for
Oh
the
my
outstanding
fucking
job.
God. Brother. You need to be fucking yeeted out of orbit permanently. Brother. Are we serious? Like, they're always serious. This is what they always care about. Have you heard Red Scare talk with Nick Fuentes? Anna's first question is about you and brings you up a lot. She's obsessed with you. I'm not trying to upset you, but why haven't you acknowledged that? Because I thought I thought people would be a little bit more locked into what's going on currently. You know, like this is a fairly historic world event. Anyway, let's just continue.
Your country is doing in so many different ways, and for helping us so much with this peace agreement. I also want to thank the president for the escort of 6 fighter jets. Oh, we looked out the window, we said, I hope they're friendly, and they turned out to be very friendly. But we had 3 on each side, and they are beauties right out of the great, really American manufacturing hub. We make the greatest military equipment in the world. We have the strongest military in the world by far. And I knew exactly what those planes were, and I knew exactly how much you paid for those planes, too. You paid a lot, but you got a pretty good deal. And they are great planes, and we just appreciate it. That was quite an escort in. That was very impressive. But Air Force One was really, it was covered with Egyptian desert just a few months ago. If you think about it, just a few months ago it was Egyptian desert, and now it was just a few feet off our window. And it was a spectacular sight, and I appreciate it very much. Really, that was pretty good. You got our people by surprise. I don't know if they were thrilled right at the beginning, but they were thrilled as we sailed along very, very calmly and safely. And I'm deeply honored to receive from you, Egypt's highest state honor, the Order of the Nile. The Nile is so beautiful, so magnificent. It's such a beautiful title, the Order of the Nile. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Great honor. I also want to give a very special thanks to the Emir of Qatar, a man who's outstanding. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, long before politics, and he's a fantastically respected man. His Highness Sheikh Tamim is respected by everybody. He's respected by everybody, and in the most positive way, not only because of power, because of his heart. He's got a tremendous heart, and he's a great leader, and his country loves him. Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor. Let me also express our condolences to the Qataris on the tragic car crash that claimed the lives of your cherished diplomats, some of whom were known by our people, and they were supposed to be incredible people. So please extend our sorrow and best wishes. That was tough. That was really tough. On this extraordinary occasion, I also want to give our sincere thanks to President Erdogan of Turkey. He's always there when I need him. He's such a tough guy. He is tough as you can be, but we love him. And when they have a problem with you, they always call me to handle it. And usually I come through. We just have a good relationship, and we have from the beginning. And so I want to thank you very much and say hello to your wife, your beautiful wife. And it's great to be with you. Always there. When I need him, he's always there. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And
Turkey's
I
at the
also
table.
want to thank, I just spoke to him on the phone, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed, Saudi Arabia, a special friend of mine. Boy, he's come so long and so far, and he's doing a fantastic job for his country. And I want to just thank him. And His Highness Sheikh Mohammed of the United Arab Emirates.
You're my favorite terrorist, Hassan. I love you. I feel like there's way better terrorists than me out there. Like if there was like a tier list of freedom fighters, I would say I'm nowhere near the top.
Is here. Where? He's here someplace.
Where?
Oh, he's not here, but he's here in spirit. I can tell you that. And he's been another one. He's been absolutely incredible, and we appreciate it very much. And His Majesty King Abdullah of Jordan. And thank you very much, King Abdul of Jordan. He's here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you really have been a great helper. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. Prime Minister Sharif of Pakistan. And also, I have to say, my favorite field marshal from Pakistan, who's not here, but the Prime Minister is here, and you're going to give his regards. Where are you? There you go. Thank you very much. Do you want to say what you said to me the other day? Come, would you like to say what you said the other day? I think it was so nice. Please.
Thank you very much, my dear President Trump, my dear brother President Fath el-Sisi of Egypt, Majesties, Highness.
Bro, am I crazy? It feels like it feels like there is an environment of uncertainty and fear here. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, "Oh God, oh okay, yes, I love you, Mr. President. I told you in confidence that I love you." That's is crazy.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good evening. Well, I would say today is one of the greatest days in contemporary history because peace has been achieved after untiring efforts led by President Trump, who is genuinely a man of peace, who has relentlessly and untiringly worked throughout these months, day in and day out, to make this.
Bro, I can't get over the the audacity, the performance, the spectacle. Like, Gaza is reduced to fucking rubble. Israel has deployed 13 atom bombs worth of munitions on this fucking tiny sliver of land. Okay? On this tiny sliver of land. And you have all of these world leaders that are like patting themselves on the back, talking about how fucking spectacular this is, how peaceful Trump is. It's Trump's weapons. It's the American weapons that caused this death and destruction, this genocide. And virtually all of these leaders have to fucking sit there and act as though, you know, what we all saw happening did not actually happen. And that now we have finally gotten to a position where we've finally gotten to a place where, like, oh, pure peace is taking place. It's taking place. Is I don't know what you're doing. Okay, what? What do you want? What? What? What? What do you want? Huh? Okay. The chutzpah, if you will. Is that woman covering her nostrils with the smell from Trump? I don't know what the fuck Georgia Maloney is doing, to be fair. I don't even know what she's doing there. I don't know what she's doing in general. Also 38 billion. The U.S. could have forced Israel to accept the ceasefire 2 years ago. Instead, it spent $38 billion enabling Israel's genocide of Palestinians in Gaza and fighting a regional war on Israel's behalf. Yeah. I mean, when you talk about Maloney, why the fuck is the FIFA president there, bro? That's even more crazy. People were saying, what's his face? Infantino or whatever is there too. The fuck's he doing? I guess he's just like, it's the corruption summit. So he has to be there. You know what I mean? He's like, if there is corruption happening anywhere, you know FIFA has to take a role.
World, a place to live with peace and prosperity. I would say that Pakistan had nominated President Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize for his outstanding, extraordinary contributions to first stop war between India and Pakistan and then achieve ceasefire along with his very wonderful team. And today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for peace.
Okay, I can't, dude. This level of dick sucking. Oh my God, he keeps going. Oh my God. If you guys really wanted me to watch that, bro, this is porn, okay? This is pornography. He is blowing bubbles on it. Jesus Christ.
Hey, goodbye, everybody. That was really beautiful and beautifully delivered. Wow. Thank you very much. Also with us is President Prabowo, a very incredible man of Indonesia. President, come here.
Okay, I can't. I don't want to watch like all of the fucking leaders glazing.
It's good to have you. And so many others. I have a list here. This first 3 rows and what's standing behind me, I don't know why they changed.
Yeah, watch. Trump asked, where's the UK? Starmer raised his hand. Trump called him on the stage, making him think he was going to speak. Oh my God. It is a humiliation ritual, dude.
Come here. Is everything going good? Very good. It's very nice that you're here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic.
What? Oh my God. Oh my God.
All came in like 20-minute notice, and I.
Brother, are you for real? And then Mark Carney starts laughing. Look at him.
Came on like
Look at Mark Carney's face.
20-minute notice.
Trump is doing to these world leaders what all of my haters think, and many people who have just seen clips think I'm doing to Kaya. He's doing place training, dude. He said, "Get back to your spot." God damn. Servile, dude. Fucking servile. He said, "Place." Oh no. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. What the fuck? How is this any different? How is this fucking any different than like the divine right of kings? I mean, actually, explain to me how what's happening here has even the auspices of diplomacy, has like any. Like, what's going on here is America is the king of the world and everyone is paying tribute. Everyone demonstrates fealty. Everyone genuflects. That's it.
And I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others. United Kingdom.
Oh my God. Oh, it's just like bad optically. It's just bad in general. I mean, we got to run it back one more time.
Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
That's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others.
Oh my God. You know what's really funny is that all like the England first, mate. Fucking Britland first, mate. What are you fuckers saying then? They all love Trump and they hate Keir Starmer. And the irony is Nigel Farage would be doing the same thing, if not even worse. Okay? Like, this is... You guys can fucking keep running around being like, we gotta defend England, lads. But you are literally a vassal state, dude. Look. And I'm not saying this in a like a flex way. Obviously, my president is a fucking moron. It is crazy, bro. Starmer fucking posted it. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is like, this has to be a humiliation ritual, honestly. Oh, they're so cucked. It's crazy. I feel like everyone has just lost their damn minds here.
Chose to stand, but that's there. They're going to be very famous tomorrow, all of them. We have the Arab League is represented.
He's a moron, but your president has balls, unlike the loser on scene. No, he doesn't have balls, chatter. He's the president of America. That's it. That's the only reason why he gets to do that. Okay? It's just the amount of global power that he has because of his position. The difference is, this has always been the case. This has always been the case. However, while this has always been the case, in previous iterations of quote unquote diplomacy, America at least like tried to entertain the notion of parity, equality, like caring about the sovereignty of other countries. Trump just doesn't play that. Like I said, quiet part out loud. Do with that information what you will. If you live in one of these countries, do with that information what you will. But this has always been the case.
By His Excellency, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much. We have Armenia, and Azerbaijan. That's
a tricky one. Oh, we saved him. Oh yeah. He's just like it's a glaze sesh. Only because 11 nuclear aircraft carriers, Lamafao. I mean, I know that's what it is.
Right, and we appreciate it, and we're behind you 100%. That's Hungary. India is a great country with a very good friend of mine at the top, and he's just done a fantastic job, and I think that.
Anyway. There is something I want to fucking show you as well. Where is it? There was another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, this moment, which is crazy. This is from Eli Clifton, senior advisor at Quincy Institute, referring to what Trump said here, which once again, openly saying the fucking quiet part out loud. I actually asked Miriam Adelson, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once. I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That means it might mean Israel.
Broken promises from many other American presidents, you know that. They kept promising. I never understood it until I got there. There was a lot of pressure put on these presidents. It was put on me too, but I didn't yield to the pressure. But every president for decades said, we're going to do it. The difference is I kept my promise and officially recognized the capital of Israel and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. Isn't that right, Miriam? Look at Miriam. She's back there. Stand up, Miriam. Stand up. Miriam and Sheldon would come into the office. They'd call me. He'd call me. I think they had more trips to the White House than anybody else I could think of. Look at her sitting there so innocently. She's got $60 billion in the bank. $60 billion. And I think she's saying no more. And she loves Israel, but she loves it, and they would come in, and her husband was a very aggressive man, but I loved him. He was a very aggressive, very supportive of me. And he'd call up, can I come over and see you? I say, Sheldon, I'm the president of the United States. It doesn't work that way. He'd come in and would do.
Bro, literally, this is like... Listen. Think about what he is doing to all of those other world leaders. Now think about who he actually behaves servile to. This is literally like, how do I sit around and act as though this is not like, how do I sit around and act as though this is normal in any way, shape, or form? This is the guy that all the Groypers loved, by the way. This is the guy that all the fucking, anti-Semitic Groypers who were like, yeah, that's my bold, brave president. He's over here in Israel being like, I love Miriam Adelson. She gave me so much money. She loves Israel more than she loves America, but that's fine by me because I also love money. I love money. I talk to them every day. I used to talk to Sheldon, and Sheldon would dog walk me. He would make me bark like a dog, a little dog. I'd go, ip, ip, ip, ip, ip, like a dog.
But they were very responsible for so much, including getting me thinking about Golan Heights, which is probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to Israel.
The saddest thing is you all still voted for him. First of all, what do you mean you all? You're in a community where virtually no one, I assume, unless their fucking haters that are simply hate watching currently voted for Donald Trump. Okay.
Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. We love.
I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, she loves Israel more than the United States of America. That's right. I'm going to get her in trouble. If you said this, you would get banned. Yeah. It's not. Trump has advanced the cause. He's no longer saying dual loyalty. He's saying single loyalty. Oh, Miriam Adelson, she doesn't give a fuck about America. Look what she did to the Dallas Mavericks. My beautiful Dallas Mavericks. Look what she did. She does not care about Texas. She cares only about Israel. Israel first, she said, and I said, me too. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you, darling, for being here. That's a great honor. Great honor. She's a wonderful woman.
What is this? Sorry, ice cream vendor trickster. This is real life. Watermelon seller gets the girl. Turkish President Erdogan tells Italian Prime Minister Meloni she looks good, but she should quit smoking during their meeting at the Sharm el Sheikh Peace Summit. What the fuck?
From the plane.
Uçakta inerken görmüştüm
We arrived
sizi.
together.
Beraber geldik, intikal ettik havalimanına.
Everything okay?
Her şey yolunda.
İyi gördüm.
You look great.
Oh, thank you.
Ama
Very kind.
sigarayı bıraktırmam lazım.
But I have to make you stop smoking somehow.
I know. I don't want to kill somebody. Yeah.
He just straight up said, yeah, no, she looks great, but she got to stop. I got to make her quit the cigarettes. That's what he said. That's like a direct translation. Bro, why did he grab Macron like that? Dude, you have to remember, for a lot of these guys, they love, especially Erdogan loves doing the alpha shit. It's the same reason why Trump also pulls you in when he's like shaking people's hands. If you notice, like he did that with the UAE guy. Erdogan does that all the time. Sometimes he'll even like grab your finger like this and just clasp onto it. It's very weird. But it's all like a power play for these guys. And when you think about it, he's got like grandpa strength too, probably. He's got grandpa grip strength. The way they interact feels insane for heads of state. Out of the one at 70, why are his mannerisms that of a 100-year-old? I think being in charge ages you quite a bit. Galaksi liderine bak be. Reis. Erdogan. Anyway, there's always someone with a bigger dick in that fucking room. And obviously, while Donald Trump seemingly has the dominance over every single one of these nation leaders, ultimately, the guy that he is servile to is money first and foremost, and seemingly money coming from Miriam fucking Adelson.
Pakistan and India are going to live very nicely together, right? That's not a very, they are. They are. And they're two great, I tell you, leaders, great leaders, as far as I'm concerned. Indonesia, we covered, and I just want to say that...
this is Erdogan doing the finger grab. This was to Macron, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Macron tried to win the handshake battle. Erdogan turned it into a judo move. He does this all the time. It's so fucking stupid. It's so dumb. The New York Times, Atlantic, WAPO, CNN, Guardian, all others have refused to sign Pete Hegseth's new rules on reporting from the Pentagon. As far as I can tell, only OAN has signed it. I guess this is Hegseth waving goodbye to their access to the Pentagon and other DoD facilities. Oh my God. I can't believe that this is like... It's a real dire state of affairs when I feel like it's a moment of solace to cover international politics as opposed to our domestic politics, because our domestic politics are so fucked that sometimes American foreign policy, which is death, destruction, and genocide, seems more stable. A real sign of the times, dude. Everything is so bad. I don't know how else to describe it other than everything sucks. And I do feel like no one is aware of how bad things truly are. People are just sleepwalking. They are completely oblivious.
That's a big country, a powerful country. It does
AKP'liler bunların editlerini yapıp internete atıp bakın ne kadar güçlü galaksi liderimiz diye övünüyorlar. Mesela Hakan Fidan'ın sert bakmasını editleri falan yapıyorlar. Oh my God, they got aura edits for the foreign minister Hakan Fidan. And then also Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Apparently they say he's the leader of the galaxy. Like the people who are pro Erdogan in Turkey are making like aura edits claiming that like he is the fucking leader of the galaxy. That's awesome.
Unbelievably well, and it's great to have you. Iraq, we have Iraq with lots of oil. They have so much oil, they don't know what to do with it. That's a big problem when you have so much, you have no idea what to do with it. So thank you very much thank you very much. Italy, we have a woman, a young woman who's, I'm not allowed to say it because usually it's the end of your political career if you say it. She's a beautiful young woman. Now, if you use the word beautiful in the United States about a woman, that's the end of your political career, but I'll take my chances. Where is she? There she is. You don't mind being called beautiful, right? Because you are. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. She wanted to be here, and she's incredible, and they really respect her in Italy. She's a very successful...
I love when our famous rapist president acts as though he's worried about how his language is going to make people think he's a misogynist. They don't let you do it. They don't let you say beautiful woman. I say it anyway. Beautiful young woman. She's so pretty. She's so beautiful. Like, what are we doing, man? What the fuck's going on right now?
Very successful politician. We have Norway. Oh, Norway. Norway. What happened, Norway? What happened? Where's Norway? Where is he? We have Johnny. We're going to the World Cup. I can tell you that. Where's Norway? I don't think he wants to stand. Oh, he's back there. Well, we have Norway.
Oman, where is Norway?
Again, we have Paraguay. We have really fantastic representative from Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, and this time we'll get you the best seat. He always gets the best seat. He deserves the best seat. But what a great place it is. Spain. Where's Spain? Are you guys working on him with respect to the GDP? We'll get close. We'll get close.
He's talking about the NATO deal. He's talking about how Spain refused to abide by the increase in military spending. That's what he's bringing up here. Spain. Yeah, you might get close. Maybe 2%, maybe 3%, maybe 5%.
but fantastic job you're doing. And UAE, which is great. United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend?
Oh, this part. We watched this already, but it's good to watch it again.
Very good. That's very nice that you're here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others.
He's at place.
It's such a compliment to what we're doing, because what we've done is something very unique and very special. So it's perhaps the wealthiest and most powerful group of nations ever assembled at one time, which is a big thing. We have achieved together in recent days.
Yeah, blowing a 13-colony lead aside, the United Kingdom is literally, yes, the empire in which the sun never set. Think about that. Think about that for a moment. And then think about what just happened.
A change that really is historic, and it's going to be remembered forever. And I want to thank the American team for their amazing work, and I want to thank, I think he'll go down as the greatest.
They literally created Israel, man. They are responsible, first and foremost, for the creation of Israel, and America's responsible for the continuation of Israel's domination in the region, but like, oh, it's just the worst.
Secretary of State in the history of our country. I really believe that, Marco, or I wouldn't say it. Marco Rubio, I wouldn't say it. Maybe I would. You're doing a great job. I'll tell you, he's on course to do it. We've done a lot of work in 9 months. We've done a lot of work. I say that, 1 year ago, a little more, but 1 year ago, America, the United States of America was was a dead country. The king told me, and I use that, he said, sir, 1 year ago it was a dead country. Today you have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it is. It's the hottest country. So many investors are here. We have over $17 trillion being invested in the United States, which is a record that nobody has ever beaten. I don't think anybody will. And we still have 4 months to go before it's a year. So in 8 months, we have over 17 trillion. We're actually very close to $18 trillion. There's never been, as an example, the previous administration had less than $1 trillion over 4 years. We have, we're close to breaking $18 trillion in 8 months. That's pretty amazing. No country's ever done that. I want to also thank Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and my son-in-law and a great guy, Jared Kushner. And I even have my daughter here, Ivanka. Ivanka, please stand up. Ivanka's here. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Ivanka. We have a great team, and we have, as you know, General Raisin Kane. We have John Radcliffe. We have Tom Barrack. We have really a lot of good talent. We have Pete Hegseth, who's now Department of War as opposed to Department of Defense. We made a little change. Somehow I like the name better, so do you, so do a lot of people. But the momentous breakthrough that we're here to celebrate tonight is more than the end of the war in Gaza. It's with God's help. It'll be the new beginning for an entire beautiful Middle East. From this moment forward, we can build a region that's strong and stable and prosperous and united in rejecting the path of terror once and for all. We want to get rid of the terror and get on to other things. There are many other things in life that are so good. The final sprint to this deal began less than 3 weeks ago on the sidelines of the United Nations in New York. I met with many of the people in this room, and it all just started coming together. I've known so many of you for so long. You're friends of mine. You're great people. I have a couple I don't like in particular, but I won't tell you who. I have actually a few of them I don't like at all, but you'll never find out who they are. Well, maybe you will, come to think of it. But I have most of you who I like a lot and I respect a lot. Maybe that's more important. We listened and we exchanged ideas and we kept pushing forward until the job was done. And the first steps to peace are always the hardest. And today we've taken them and we've put them all together and we've come up with this beautiful mix like nobody thought was possible. And as you know, I've just come from Israel. It was an amazing day to watch the hostages come in and to watch all of the other things and do all of the other things that we did. And like all of us here this evening, the Israeli people are overjoyed that the war has ended. Many of you have had dancing in the streets. They had dancing in the streets. And they've been dancing for weeks now once they heard about this and they heard that it was even a possibility. They're elated at the arrival of the hostages and excited to begin this new chapter for the entire region, and it's going to be that, and they are going to be great partners, and I hope everybody's going to join the Abraham Accord. I like to say the Avraham. I love Avraham, but somehow it doesn't sound as good when I say it as it does when some of my other friends say it who are from the region. But we're going to get a lot of people joining the Abraham Accords. We have the 4 great nations that did it early on, and they stayed with it. And then you had the Biden administration, which is the worst administration in the history of our country, and obviously they did nothing on that and anything else. And so it stayed at 4, and now a lot of people, even today, they're talking about all joining up. So many people have talked to me about that, and it's going to be a great tribute to really the United States. I mean, the United States has worked very hard in the Middle East, so it would be a tribute to us and to Jared and to Steve and to all of the people, Marco, all of the people that have worked so hard on that. And it really is going to it's going to guarantee that it all stays together. You're going to do well, because the 4 nations do very well. I mean, they do extremely, they're wealthy, but they're a lot wealthier because of it. So I hope everybody's now joining up. Now we have no excuses. We don't have a Gaza, and we don't have an Iran as an excuse. That was a good excuse, but we don't have that anymore. All the momentum now is toward a great, glorious, and lasting peace.